Hi, we're in Hawaii. We've returned for the 60th celebration of the Polynesian Cultural Center on the island of Oahu. 10 years ago, we returned from a mission for our church here. And my sweetheart has brought me back for my 75th birthday. Whoops, I wasn't supposed to tell you how old I was, huh? Well, anyway, this morning there's going to be an amazing opportunity. One of the missionaries that we served with, her and her husband, is doing a bread making demonstration of French bread. It's an hour-long bread. It can be shaped as an artisan bread or as French bread, and she's doing it for a girls' camp demonstration. Some of the young women in our church have a break, and they, rather than go down and camp on the beach and stuff, they chose to go to a nice home and have different activities for the several days that they're doing it. And so we will be seeing, it's Janice Maples, and she looks just like Paula Deen, but she really isn't. But she cooks like Paula Deen too, very well. And I hope you enjoy this. Let's go see how all of us could make a 1 hour bread, to have hot bread on our table at any time for our family. Thank you.
But she's going to teach you today her secret recipe, the top secret recipe.
It's a French bread 1 hour.
And I'm going to, if you guys can pass this around, everybody get a copy, so you guys can learn how to do this.
It's so easy. If you don't have a Bosch, you can use a KitchenAid.
Or even you can do
it by hand. It's a little bit more difficult by hand, but you can do it. I mean, because you have to knead it for a lot longer. But the KitchenAid isn't as powerful as the Bosch. So what you want to do is with the KitchenAid, you want to use knead it for a little bit longer. Okay, it takes 5½ cups, and what you do is you don't pack your flour. You don't pack it. You just kind of scoop it in, and I just do it with my, I just level it off with my finger.
And you can also level it off with like a knife if you have like a straight edge like this.
That's a very sharp knife.
I'd rather not.
Okay.
There's 2. Ooh. I think I should have gotten it.
Do I need to get the oven heated up?
On 450.
Oh, you want it now? 450?
You don't have to do it right now, but pretty soon.
Can you tell it's when?
I should have.
Take it on that.
How many was that? 3?
Yes.
4.
Yes. So she's just measuring out.
You have to use bread flour. You can't use regular flour. Bread flour has more gluten in it, so it causes the bread to rise better and have better texture. And this recipe just doesn't work well with. Was that 5?
That's
I
fine.
think so. I think that was 6.
I hope not. Okay, 5½. And I always put my dry ingredients. Now, according to this, it says, well, it does say mix everything in order. So what I do is, it calls for 2 teaspoons of sugar. Is this? So okay, I'll do it the way I'm supposed to.
I think this is a teaspoon. More recipes. 2 tablespoons of sugar.
Here. That's all right. That's all right. 2 teaspoons of sugar, and
It says tablespoons.
Tablespoons.
I thought it did too.
So we're
It
gonna
says
little.
tablespoons.
That's all right. We're gonna fake it here.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
And then we have some salt.
Salt.
It says 2 teaspoons, and what I do, I just use a tablespoon and just don't fill it. But you girls, when you're doing it, go ahead and measure it right, okay? The yeast is in,
And this is, she likes this brand, the sap yeast. Instant sap yeast.
You
But
don't-
but I have mine, I open it up and I put it in another container.
But you don't have, on this instant yeast, you don't have to proof it. On regular yeast, you have to put it in some warm water and some sugar and wait for a few minutes for it to bubble up. You don't have to do that with this. You
Because
just,
it's the instant.
you just simply put it in here and it calls for two tablespoons, right? I make this all the time, but I also make a lot of other bread, so I'm sorry. But I'll tell you what I do. I add a little bit more. I add just a tiny bit more. A pinch is always better. So now I'm gonna
I never do that. I never do that. I always just follow it exactly. But
well, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add 2.5 cups of hot water. Now you don't want to get your water so hot because it'll kill your yeast. You just want it so that you can put your finger in it and it's still warm.
And you
So-
can test it on your wrist, and if it's too hot on your wrist, then it's going to be too hot, and
Yeah.
it will kill your yeast. So you don't want to do that. Because your yeast is actually, it's a living, like a living organism, and so when it gets too hot, it will kill
By
it.
the time you put it in the cup and take it over to the bowl.
Yes?
How does the yeast not dry out and die?
Well, the thing is if you keep it in a regular pantry, it can, over time, get old. And so that's I keep my yeast in the freezer, because it just makes it stay longer. So over time, like these all have like an expiration date on it. And so what happens is it'll still work, but it's just gonna not be as effective. And so you wanna keep your yeast, I always keep it in the freezer.
I probably have,
I just keep mine in the freezer. Because it keeps it fresh longer.
I probably have 5 or 6 pounds of yeast in my freezer. And we counted how many pounds of butter I have.
I was looking for this.
How many pounds of butter? 20. Okay, I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to turn this on to low and start it. And then kind of bogs down, so you want to put it on to 2. Now the trick with this, after it has kneaded for a few minutes, you just but what we do, you don't want your bread and dough to be raw. That's a no-no. So, and if it's still we're gonna need it for 5 minutes. So, what you do is you check it. And it depends on the humidity. Now, I've not ever made bread with this bread here in Hawaii, so I don't know what we're gonna come to, what it's gonna do. But I'm gonna stop it, and I'm gonna touch it, and it's sticky. I wish you girls, some of you could.
Well, come over and look at it.
Just come and look, if you want to. And you can, your hands are, oh my God, you touch it. Okay. Okay, we're gonna knead it, and I'm gonna stop it for a few minutes and check it. You girls can do this, this is so easy. My grandkids, my great-grandkids do this. And they're little.
I like to knead it with my hands.
Well, you can do that. You can do that. That's okay.
What we're gonna do we're gonna let this sit. She's gonna.
I'm gonna spray the ham on my hands, and so that I can get the hook out. Somehow. Your hook is different than mine. There we go. And get all your dough off. This is precious dough. And it is sticky, but it's gonna be great. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is let it sit. I'm gonna cover it with this. And we're going to let it sit for 15 minutes and wait till you see what it looks like after 15 minutes. You're going to, I'm sure your folks have made bread, huh? Yeah. So you know what it is.
Have any of you made the coconut bread that the Tahiti made?
15 minutes.
I wondered.
And I've set the oven at 450 and we're going to make some magic here.
Can I mention something that you told me that they've taught these young girls to make sacrament bread? Wouldn't that be a cool thing to do, you guys?
Well, and I make sacrament bread every week. For not every, I make it. They have it every week, but I make it twice. Two loaves, but I love the idea of the young women making it, and
make all the bread.
yeah, for sacrament, that is so cool. I'm gonna go home and tell my family. That way, I don't have to make. I say have to. I love doing it. I feel privileged to make sacrament bread. Okay, now what we're going to do here, I'm going to kind of mold it. I wish you could, I'm going to pinch off just a little. I want y'all to feel how wonderful that dough feels. Let Sister Palmer feel to it. She probably already knows. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
You do want it a little sticky, remember, like she said?
Yeah, it's a little bit sticky, but that's what you want because then it won't be...
Makes moist bread wonderful.
Okay, now, what I'm going to do... Yeah, that's what I need. And I'm going to turn this... You don't have to do this. I do it. I like to have... kind of the same size. So what I do is I put that on. Now it says 146. That's 1 pound, 4 ounces. This one's bigger. Okay, let's see if that. Oh, it's on ounces. It always does that with me. It bounces back. Okay. It doesn't matter. We're just going to do it.
But if they don't have that, just
You
cut
don't
it.
have it. Just eyeball. Just eyeball.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. Now what I'm going to do, I want it smooth on top. So I'm going to make sure that I keep folding it over like this until I get it smooth on top, and then you pinch it. Like that. And then I'm going to put it on here and do the next one.
Now that's the secret to get it smooth with any bread, right?
Oh yes, any bread that you do. You don't want it lumpy on the top. You kind of want it smooth. So that's good. Now what I'm going to do is it's not quite as round as I would. Give me a little knife. I'm going to score it. I'm going to just go like this. Usually I have what they call a lamb, and it's got a razor blade and a handle, but you don't have to have it. It's just to let the air out so that it will rise better. It still works. I've forgotten to do that, and it works. So 1 egg white, and I'm going to slather the whole top of this, and it makes it so golden brown and pretty. That's kind of a misshapen one, isn't it?
So you can also make long spoon loaves, right?
Oh yeah, you can make any size of it.
That's what I.
See, my
Here, Trish.
Oh, here's some sesame seeds.
I can't get.
Ask and you shall receive.
It's a little different doing it here than in my house, but you know what? It's so easy. You guys can do this.
She has a little razor blade she uses for hers.
You guys want to learn how to do this?
Here's that.
Yes.
Want to make it? Yeah, we're gonna start making it.
Do we get to eat it after, or what?
Yes. No, we're gonna eat
We're
it.
gonna eat this baby. These babies.
I might make some more while everyone's gone. Right? So you have more here.
Okay.
What if we all made our own loaves for dinner?
And it doesn't have to be perfectly round. It can be an oblong. It can be a long loaf. It doesn't matter. I like to put sesame seeds on the top just because it looks pretty. You don't have to do that either.
I probably don't do that.
Now, we're going to let it sit for 15 minutes and let it rise. Okay, I'm going to put it over on the warm oven, and we're going to let it rise, and then we'll bake it for 15.
That's the best part.
Okay, before we do this, I want to tell you, the sign of a good cook is that she has a sink full of bubbled hot water with soap, bubbles, and that she cleans as she goes. That's a sign of a good cook. You have to, well, not a sign, but that's what I do. But I think that way when you're done, everything's clean, and you don't have a big mess. Okay, what we'll do, this is a great area to cut on, if that's okay with her.
This is my bread.
Oh, cute.
Don't you have to this one thing's just so much twist. If the ladies want it,
Ooh, this thing. I don't know how many girls, I can't.
we have 20 girls.
Well, we could cut them in half.
So 10 for each one. Well, plus the leaders. I know. Friends smell is good smell.
This must be.
This is a girls' camp
Normally you don't
in
have
Hawaii,
this hot.
and this was the demonstration they
Give it a
did
little bit of time.
to teach the girls how to make bread.
I'm gonna let you
This
cut
is
it
an
because
amazing
I'm not-
opportunity for them. Oh, I thought I would show you how we're roughing it here. This is taken from the balcony of our home here in Hawaii that we are renting. That is Temple View Bay. And right there, that is Hokilau Bay. And look at how beautiful the waters are. Don't get jealous.